Imagine England in the mid-17th century thrown into chaos. Tensions between the king and parliament are escalating day by day. The country is split in two, and civil war seems inevitable. Into this turbulent world emerges a figure both terrifying and awe-inspiring. Oliver Cromwell, a man from a simple middle-class family with no aristocratic title to his name, he would soon rise to wield immense influence over England's political and military stage. Cromwell's life was marked by hardship. From a young age, he showed deep devotion to religious principles, and his Puritan faith shaped his thoughts, actions, and the decisions he would make in the years to come. His simple lifestyle and strict moral code earned him respect and influence, both in the army and in politics. Cromwell's life was not merely the rise of a leader, it was an extraordinary story where religious conviction, political determination, and ruthless strategic thinking intersected. At first glance, he appeared to be just another member of parliament, but during the English Civil War, he revealed himself as the creator of the new model army and a military genius. Cromwell was not only a commander who achieved victories on the battlefield, he was the man who shook the king's authority and sent the monarchy into the dusty pages of history. His name is also associated with fear. The expeditions he led in Ireland and Scotland, the bloody battles and his harsh dictatorship made his legacy controversial among both historians and the public. Yet one thing is clear: Oliver Cromwell left an indelible mark on England's history, shaping its religious, political, and military future. In this video, we will explore his life, his political rise, his army, and the power vacuum that followed his death, all in vivid and dramatic detail. Cromwell's story is inspiring on one hand and terrifying on the other. Are you ready to journey into the world of this complex and fascinating historical figure? Fact 1. Birth and childhood. Oliver Cromwell was born on April 25, 1599, in Huntingdon, England. He grew up in a middle-class Puritan family. His father, Robert Cromwell, was active in local politics, striving to maintain the family's influence and ensure financial stability, while remaining committed to his personal values. Though modest, Robert possessed a serious and disciplined approach to leadership and sought to teach his son both religious and civic responsibilities from an early age. Oliver's mother, Elizabeth Stewart, was a strict and devout woman. Her upbringing emphasized discipline and religious values at the center of her children's lives. She instilled daily practices of worship and moral principles, ensuring her children grew up thoughtful, responsible, and accountable before God. Elizabeth also valued education and a love of books, playing a major role in Oliver's first experiences with reading and writing. Cromwell's childhood was calm and orderly, but guided by strict rules. This environment instilled in him early on determination, resilience, and deep religious conviction. From a young age, he developed both physical and mental skills. Hunting, horseback riding, and other physical activities with his father helped him gain strength, agility, and leadership abilities. At the same time, Cromwell received a structured and serious education. He was introduced to Latin, classical literature, and history at an early age. These studies shaped his way of thinking and strategic skills, preparing him for decision-making in both military and political arenas later in life. The experiences of Cromwell's childhood and youth, combined with the strict yet loving guidance of his parents, strengthened both his physical endurance and moral resolve, laying the foundation for a leader who would one day change the course of England's history. These years were not merely a simple childhood. The values, discipline, and religious devotion he absorbed during this time forged him into a purpose-driven, strategic, and resolute leader, shaping the character that would define his political and military life. Cromwell's family and early upbringing provided the cornerstone for a leader whose life would be marked by determination, strategic thinking, and relentless commitment to his principles. Fact 2. Leader of the Parliamentary Army. Oliver Cromwell sided with Parliament during the English Civil War, which began in 1642, and quickly emerged as one of the Army's most prominent leaders. Though initially a simple member or local figure, he rapidly gained recognition for his strategic brilliance and determined leadership. Cromwell stood out not only for his tactical skills, but also for his personal charisma and the deep bond he established with his soldiers. He played a key role in creating the new model army, a modernized military force built not just on physical strength, but also on strict discipline, religious faith, and precise military tactics. Cromwell carefully maintained the morale, determination, and religious motivation of every soldier, ensuring they were strong both on the battlefield and in spirit. His tactical agility and rapid attacks repeatedly surprised enemy forces, disrupting their plans and swiftly changing the course of battles. Cromwell also kept his army and subordinate leaders under strict supervision, ensuring every order was executed accurately and on time. This maximized both discipline and efficiency within the army. Under Cromwell's leadership, parliamentary forces won a series of crucial victories against the Royalists. His military skills, strategic planning, and ability to inspire his troops made him a leader who was both feared and respected. Cromwell was not merely a commander. He became a figure who shaped the spirit of his army, guided Parliament's strategy, and influenced the fate of England. Through his leadership, the new model army rewrote military and political history in England. Cromwell trained every soldier to act with discipline and purpose, creating a powerful force that would play a decisive role in England's political transformation in the years to come. Fact 3. Fighting King Charles I and the Roundhead Army. During the English Civil War, Oliver Cromwell stood against King Charles I and played a decisive role in shaping and strengthening the parliamentary forces known as the Roundhead Army. Under his leadership, these troops were not only numerous, but also highly disciplined, motivated, and equipped with modern tactics. Cromwell emphasized both the religious faith and strategic preparation of his soldiers, inspiring them to fight not just for survival, but for an idealistic purpose. His cavalry units became particularly famous. Swift, agile, and deadly, they constantly surprised and outmaneuvered the king's forces. He maintained strict control over every order, ensured the army's discipline, and meticulously planned strategies to gain tactical advantages on the battlefield. These skills allowed the Roundhead Army to secure a series of critical victories, significantly weakening the power of King Charles I. Cromwell's struggle against the king established him as both a fearsome and respected leader in English history. His leadership, discipline, and strategic thinking transformed the Roundhead forces into one of the most powerful military units of the war and decisively influenced the course of the English Civil War. Fact 4. Victory and the execution of King Charles I. Under Oliver Cromwell's leadership, the parliamentary army fought relentless battles against royalist forces during the English Civil War and ultimately achieved victory. These successes were not only the result of military skill and strategic planning, but also owed to the high discipline, religious faith, and motivation instilled by Cromwell within his troops. After 1646, King Charles I was taken prisoner, but Cromwell and his parliamentary allies refused to allow him to remain on the throne. In January 1649, a special tribunal tried King Charles I, charging him with treason against Parliament and actions against the laws of the people. Under Cromwell's influence and leadership, this tribunal carried out the execution of the king, a rare and unprecedented event that significantly weakened the monarchy in England. The victory achieved by Cromwell and his army did not just signify a change in political power, it had a profound impact on the future structure of England's political system. The execution was dramatic and terrifying. The king's head was struck off, and England briefly entered a republican period known as the Commonwealth. Cromwell's role in this victory and in the king's execution established him as a formidable and awe-inspiring leader, leaving an enduring mark on both the military and political history of England. Fact 5. Lord Protector and the Republican Rule. In 1653, during a period of peak political turmoil in England, Oliver Cromwell was declared Lord Protector. This marked a rare period in which the country was ruled without a monarchy, and Cromwell effectively acted as the head and most powerful leader of England. Under his leadership, England entered the short-lived republican system known as the Commonwealth. In this system, both legislative and executive powers were shared between Parliament and Cromwell, giving him substantial control over the country's governance. Cromwell strengthened his authority in both political and religious spheres, promoting Puritan values, restricting public entertainment, and emphasizing military discipline and order. During his tenure, England experienced centralized governance, economic and military restructuring, and strict enforcement of Puritan principles. While some admired his leadership, many perceived his rule as dictatorial. Cromwell was not only a powerful political leader, but also a symbol of the temporary abolition of the monarchy and the realization of the republican idea in England. His role as Lord Protector created a period marked by both fear and respect, fundamentally altering England's political and historical trajectory. This era showcased Cromwell's personal leadership abilities, strategic thinking, and his strength in both military and political arenas. Fact 6. Hero of freedom or dictator? Oliver Cromwell's life and actions remain one of the most controversial subjects in English history. His name evokes admiration in some and fear in others. To some, he is a hero of freedom and rights. To others, a ruthless dictator. This dual perception highlights the complexity of his life and actions. On one hand, Cromwell ended the harsh rule of the monarchy, fought on the side of Parliament, and paved the way for significant political changes in England. His leadership and strategies fundamentally altered the political system, strengthening Parliament and weakening the monarchy. In this light, Cromwell is seen by some as a defender of liberty and rights, a precursor to democratic ideas in England. On the other hand, his strict rule and near-dictatorial governance caused considerable controversy. Cromwell enforced Puritan values, restricted public entertainment, and sought to control nearly every aspect of daily life. Particularly his military campaigns in Ireland and Scotland were bloody and ruthless, causing massive destruction and loss of life. These actions revealed his harsh and uncompromising side. Cromwell's military successes and political decisions made him a leader who was both feared and respected. His strategic brilliance and disciplined leadership transformed the parliamentary army into one of the strongest forces on the battlefield. At the same time, his harsh decisions and insistence on religious and political discipline were viewed by many as signs of tyranny. Ultimately, Oliver Cromwell's legacy remains a dual one. He is remembered both as a symbol of democratic change and as an example of power and ruthlessness. Historians and the public may assess him differently, but his impact is undeniable. Cromwell was not just a person, but a phenomenon, a leader who created turning points in English history. Fact 7. Bloody military expeditions, Ireland and Scotland. After the English Civil War, Oliver Cromwell sought to consolidate his political and military power by organizing a series of military expeditions to Ireland and Scotland. His goal was not only to strengthen parliamentary control in England, but also to completely eliminate royalist threats and secure his future political position. In 1649 to 1650, Cromwell led his forces to Ireland. These campaigns became some of the bloodiest and most devastating episodes in history. Cromwell's military tactics were based on strict discipline, precise strategy, and rapid action. His army excelled not only on the battlefield, but also in the capture of fortresses. Every assault was carefully planned in advance, surprising the enemy and ensuring that each soldier executed their duties with maximum precision. However, these expeditions were marked by extreme violence and destruction. In towns like Drogheda and Wexford, Cromwell's forces killed thousands of civilians and soldiers after taking the forts. The mass executions and destruction of the towns have been remembered by historians as examples of Cromwell's ruthless military methods. While these operations demonstrated his strategic brilliance and organizational skills, the human cost was enormous. These campaigns revealed the dual nature of Cromwell's character. On one hand, he was a respected and feared commander, known for his discipline, leadership, and strategic thinking. On the other hand, his harsh, uncompromising methods and disregard for humanitarian concerns drew severe criticism, both in his time and among modern historians. Cromwell's actions in Ireland and Scotland strengthened his political power, extending the influence of Parliament and his own authority. Yet the victories came at a tremendous cost. The deaths of thousands and the devastation of cities made his legacy both feared and controversial. In these campaigns, Cromwell is remembered as a powerful military leader and strategist, but also as a figure associated with violence and ruthlessness. His expeditions exemplify the complexity of his legacy. He is both a symbol of discipline and authority and a reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked military power. Fact 8. Religious belief and strict policy. Oliver Cromwell was a Puritan, a member of a Protestant movement in 17th century England that sought to purify the Church of England from what they considered unnecessary rituals, pomp, and corruption. Puritans valued simplicity, discipline, personal devotion, and a close, direct relationship with God. Their worldview emphasized moral integrity, hard work, and a strict adherence to religious principles in daily life. Cromwell's Puritan faith profoundly shaped both his personal life and his public actions. From a young age, he internalized the belief that one's life should reflect God's will, not only in private conduct, but also in public responsibility. This belief translated into rigid discipline in his army, where soldiers were expected to live morally upright lives, adhere to strict codes of behavior, and view their military service as part of a divine mission. He famously inspired his troops to see themselves not merely as fighters for Parliament, but as instruments of God, carrying out his justice on earth. In battles, Cromwell did not act purely for political or strategic reasons. He infused his campaigns with the conviction that he was executing God's work. He frequently framed military actions, particularly against royalists and Catholics, as divinely sanctioned endeavors. This religious motivation made him appear relentless and uncompromising, as he believed his decisions were morally righteous and sanctioned by divine authority. Cromwell often justified harsh measures, including mass executions and the suppression of rebellions, as a fulfillment of God's will. His Puritan faith also heavily influenced his domestic policies. Cromwell restricted theaters, public celebrations, and other forms of entertainment, considering them morally corrupt or frivolous distractions from religious devotion. The laws and ordinances passed under his rule reflected this worldview, emphasizing morality, sobriety, and the public enforcement of religious principles. He sought to create a society that mirrored his understanding of divine order, where ethical behavior and religious observance guided public and private life alike. Thus, for Cromwell, religious belief was not just a private matter, it was inseparable from governance, military strategy, and political authority. His devotion to Puritan principles defined his leadership style, informed his military campaigns, and shaped the policies of the Commonwealth, leaving an indelible mark on English history. His faith made him a figure admired for moral conviction by some and feared for his uncompromising zeal by others, highlighting the complex interplay between religion and power in his life. Fact 9. Cromwell's death and its impact on England. Oliver Cromwell died on September 3, 1658, in London. His death came at a critical moment for England, as Cromwell was one of the most powerful figures in both political and military spheres. As Lord Protector, he had governed England under Puritan values and strict moral principles. Cromwell maintained tight control over both the army and Parliament, striving to preserve political stability in the country. His goal was not merely to display power, he also sought to elevate religious faith, morality, and discipline throughout England. Cromwell's passing created a profound political vacuum. His successor, his son Richard Cromwell, lacked his father's political and military abilities. Richard inherited the title of Lord Protector, but his influence and authority were far weaker compared to Cromwell. This void led to political chaos and power struggles. Conflicts erupted between the army, Parliament, and royalist factions. People keenly felt the absence of Cromwell's firm yet commanding leadership, and the country appeared to lose its stability. As a result of this turmoil, the monarchy was restored in 1660. Charles II ascended to the throne, and the monarchy regained power. Cromwell's death marked the beginning of a dramatic period of change for England. His legacy remained deeply controversial. On one hand, he was seen as a protector of the people, a leader who ended the harsh rule of the monarchy and promoted moral and religious values. On the other hand, his bloody military campaigns in Ireland and Scotland, his strict dictatorial rule, and the rigid enforcement of Puritan policies made him a figure of fear and resentment. Cromwell was remembered as both feared and respected, leaving an indelible mark on England's political and military history. Cromwell's death was more than the loss of a single leader. It brought irreversible changes to England's political structure, its army, and the balance of power. His life and death continue to be remembered as a story that is both inspiring and terrifying, and his political and religious ideals remain subjects of discussion among historians and scholars to this day. Fact 10. Oliver Cromwell's personal character. Oliver Cromwell was not only a political and military leader, but also a complex and multifaceted individual. His personality was a blend of rigor, deep religious faith, unyielding discipline, and strategic intelligence. From an early age, Cromwell's Puritan upbringing instilled in him a strong sense of duty, responsibility, and moral integrity, which guided him throughout his life. For him, religion was not just personal belief, it was a framework that influenced every decision he made, both on the battlefield and in politics. Cromwell saw himself as an instrument of God's will, and this conviction gave him both confidence and authority. Cromwell was also highly strategic and analytical. He carefully planned every military campaign, assessing both his allies and his enemies. The success of his army was not merely due to strength or weapons. It was discipline, psychological insight, and tactical innovation that set him apart. He inspired his soldiers not only to follow orders, but also to fight for a higher purpose, blending religious motivation with military objectives. This combination made him a leader who was both feared and respected. At the same time, Cromwell's personality was marked by sternness and ruthlessness. His campaigns in Ireland and Scotland demonstrated his cold, unyielding side, showing that he could make harsh decisions without hesitation when necessary. He was never impulsive. Every action was calculated, based on careful analysis and adherence to principles. Cromwell also had a strong sense of personal ethics and integrity. He demanded honesty, discipline, and devotion to God from himself and those around him. For him, power was not just control or conquest, it carried moral responsibility and accountability. This approach earned him respect and awe from his contemporaries. In his personal life, Cromwell was equally complex. As a husband and father, he was strict but fair, protective yet principled. He was self-critical and introspective, aware of his own weaknesses, and constantly sought to improve himself. Overall, Oliver Cromwell was a rare figure in history, deeply religious, strategically brilliant, resolute, and sometimes ruthless, yet guided by moral principles. His character inspired both fear and admiration, and his life left an indelible mark on England's political, military, and moral landscape. Cromwell was more than a leader. He was a phenomenon whose personal convictions shaped an era and continue to fascinate historians and the public alike. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the life of Oliver Cromwell, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you won't miss any of our historical adventures. History is full of fascinating stories, and we've only just scratched the surface. Join us as we uncover the triumphs, controversies, and mysteries of the past, one story at a time.